today's video, we will be discussing the two parties' most easy path to victory, which includes both the Democrats and the Republicans. As the 2024 election is shaping up, it seems like the election will be quite a competitive race, just like 2016 and 2020. So, what is necessarily both parties' easiest path to victories? Today we'll find out. Let's start with the Democrats because they are the incumbent party. On the map right now, you can see the Democratic states and the Republican states. Democrats do start off with the advantage, but to be honest, most of the competitive electoral votes, such as states like Texas and Florida, are most likely going to go to the Republican Party. So, what is necessarily the Democrats' most easy pathway? Now, first off, I would just like to give Republicans the states of Texas and Florida. The reason being that although these states are winnable for the Democratic Party, they have a slim chance of winning these states. I don't think Democrats really need to emphasize on both of these states here. It just seems like Democrats have little to no chance of actually winning either of these states. And wasting a lot of campaign money like Hillary Clinton did in 2016 and Joe Biden did in 2020 in both of these states, it's just a waste of time as Democrats have little chance of actually winning them. So for that reason alone, these two states will not be emphasized on the Democratic pathway. Now, for Democrats to win, first off, I think they need to definitely win the state of Minnesota. Minnesota is definitely a key state. It's a state that's pretty Democratic friendly, as long as the state of New Hampshire. Both of these states voted for Joe Biden by 7 points and Hillary Clinton by around a point. And at the end of the day, if you're unable to win states that Hillary Clinton wins, it's going to be very, very hard for you to actually win the presidential election. That brings the Democrats to 225, 45 electoral votes away from the presidential election. Now here we need to talk about the state of Michigan. This is the must-win state for Democrats to actually win the presidential election. For one, Democrats won the state by 3 in 2020. It is relatively strong of a margin for Democrats, and they should be able to win the state. If they are unable to win the state, that means they will probably lose Wisconsin and Pennsylvania as well, which would be very, very difficult for Democrats to actually win the election. The Rust Belt states, though, Democrats don't need to win all of them. Democrats at least need to win the state of Michigan to have a remote chance of actually winning the presidency. Now, here Democrats have multiple paths, because these states currently colored in blue are pretty much must-win states. They can win through the Rust Belt, the states of Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. They can win through the Sun Belt, which is Nevada, Arizona, and Georgia. Or they can win in a mix of both. I think Democrats realistically have the best shot of winning in a mix of both. I think first off, if you look at these states, which states are trending Democratic the heaviest? Arizona and Georgia. But these two states combined do not give Democrats enough electoral votes. They only give Democrats 267 electoral votes combined, 3 shy of the presidential election. So I think first off, we need to give Georgia to the Democratic Party. This is a state that's been trending blue by heavy margins. In fact, in 2020, it shifted blue by around 5 points. Trump won the state by more than 5 points, and Joe Biden was able to flip the state. Whereas with Arizona, Democrats had a really good showing because John McCain was heavily against Trump in the state of Arizona, and even then, Republicans only lost by around 4% of their support, while for the state of Georgia, Democrats gained by more than 5 points. And Georgia will be definitely the most crucial state for the Democratic Party to actually win in order to win the general election. Now here we have a bunch of states here. Democrats can win any combined 2 of the 5 states to end up winning the presidential election, or they can simply win the states of Pennsylvania or North Carolina. One of these states will guarantee the Democrats the presidency. Now, I think the easiest pathway for Democrats is to win the state of Pennsylvania. Joe Biden has announced his re-election bid, and he is most certainly going to be the Democratic candidate. And at the end of the day, Biden was really born in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and that should help him win the state. Further, many of the suburban areas are helping Democrats still hold on to the state in recent elections. And really, the heavy electoral vote presence of the state, and in fact that this state was a bellwether state. It was a state that decided the election. Really shows how Democrats really need to win the state, and this will probably be the easiest Democratic pathway for them to win the election. Now, Republicans obviously can win the remaining states, but that will not be enough for the Republicans to end up actually winning the election, as Democrats hold on to 275 electoral votes. In fact, they can lose the state of New Hampshire, but at the end of the day, Democrats do end up winning the presidential election in this scenario. Now onto the Republican pathway. Now, Republicans are in a deficit, but they have some states that are pretty favorable for them that have huge electoral vote numbers. Two states, Republicans, really three states that Republicans must win in this matchup, and these states are pretty easy for the Republicans to win: Texas, Florida, and North Carolina. Now, first off, Texas. With 40 electoral votes, if Democrats simply win the state, this will give Democrats 251 electoral votes. This will be very easy for Democrats to win, as with Texas blue, that means Democrats can do really, really well in the southern states, and getting 19 electoral votes out of more than 130 competitive electoral votes would be very, very easy. Thus, this must be a must-win state for the GOP. This also carries 40 electoral votes and ensures that this heavily previously red state will continue to go into the Republican category for at least another 10 years. So that would have to be classified as Republican. The other heavy electoral vote state here with more or equal to 30 electoral votes is the state of Florida. If Democrats win the state, again, it's pretty much game over for the GOP once more, as Democrats really only need 29 electoral votes out of 108. Mathematically, this would be pretty simple, especially because Democrats have very, very, very good chances in states like Minnesota and New Hampshire and Nebraska's 2nd District, so effectively Democrats don't have to win much more in order to win the general election. So this will be a must-win state. Both of these states were pretty solidly in the GOP column back in 2020. So Democrats, if they win the states, it's pretty much game over for the GOP. Further, although Texas is trending blue, it's not trending blue in a fast pace, and Florida is trending heavily towards the Republican Party, so there's no excuses for a GOP to not win both of these states. Finally, North Carolina. Now, this state doesn't carry as many electoral votes, but if Democrats are actually able to win the state, well, this will be pretty monumental for Democrats, as they haven't won a single presidential election in the state since 2008. Further, Biden lost the state, and if Republicans end up losing states that Joe Biden lost to Donald Trump, that would be a very, very bad sign for the Democratic Party, for the Republican Party, and Democrats will most certainly win the presidential election. So this would be a state that would be a must-win for the GOP. Now, I think Democrats, realistically speaking, will win the state of Minnesota. This has a very long Democratic voting history. It even voted for Walter Mondale, though he lost all the other 49 states against Ronald Reagan. And realistically, New Hampshire, Republicans don't have much of a chance there. Nebraska's 2nd, it's not very important. Now, one electoral vote could be important in some scenarios, but drawing elections have become less likely thanks to the redelegation of some of the states, making a draw much less likely. Further, this district did vote for the Democratic Party by 7 points. I know redistricting made the district slightly more conservative, but that's not going to matter that much. So Republicans still need 35 electoral votes to win the presidency. Now, there are again several pathways for the Republicans to do so. Nevada, Arizona, and Georgia is not an option, as those states combined would, I believe, give Republicans 268 electoral votes, which would not be enough for the presidential election. So Republicans need to win at least one of the 3 Rust Belt states. Now, realistically, I think Republicans could win Michigan, but I think this is not one of the states they need to focus on. Democrats won the state by 3 points, and some of the areas such as Grand Rapids and Oakland County are not trending Republican. They're actually trending blue. So it would be more difficult for Republicans to actually flip the state of Michigan, given that Democrats have around 200,000 votes to lose, which is quite a substantial margin. And yeah, that would be for the state of Michigan. So what does the Republicans have to need? Well, they first need Wisconsin. This is pretty much a must-win, because this state voted for Biden by just 0.7 points. And Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, the Sunbelt path, does give Republicans less electoral votes than they need to actually win the presidency. So at the end of the day, you must win one of the 2 Rust Belt states, and probably Wisconsin is the easier one, because it is more Republican-friendly, and pretty much the couple of recent previous elections has shown much tighter margins than the state of Pennsylvania in terms of being competitive and winnable for the GOP. Now, these are the final three states here. Republicans and Democrats are pretty much in an even field. The Republicans are up for electoral votes. Now, Republicans in theory again could win Arizona and Georgia, which gives them enough electoral votes to win the election. Nonetheless, I do believe Pennsylvania is the easiest state for Republicans to win, because this has the most heavy electoral vote presence, and essentially if Democrats do end up winning the state, then Republicans will have to win both Arizona and Georgia, which could be more challenging. Instead, Republicans do end up winning the state in this hypothetical matchup, and now, not only does winning either Arizona or Georgia give Republicans a win, winning Nevada is also a possible opportunity here. So yeah, Pennsylvania, although is the state Biden was born in, really approval ratings for Joe Biden has been absolutely disastrous in Pennsylvania, suggesting potentially speaking, Republicans have a pretty good shot, at least approval rating wise, in the state of Pennsylvania. And now for the final three states. Now, I don't think Republicans have that good of a shot in Georgia. It is a trending blue state. And realistically, Nevada is not the best option, so it's probably going to be the state of Arizona. Because of the fact, again, John McCain has passed away a couple of years ago, Republicans don't have as much baggage in the state of Arizona, and really, Biden's low approval rating could end up helping in a more moderate state like Arizona, where the population center of Phoenix or Maricopa County may shift towards the Republican Party. So this is the most likely scenario for Republicans to win, and really the easiest one in 2024. And this is the Democratic map. You can see the electoral votes are consequentially just flipped around. Anyways, thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Goodbye.